The Battle of Midway was one of many significant battles during World War II. Several harsh battles, such as Midway, arose throughout the Pacific amongst Americans and Japanese. During this time, the Japanese were hoping to eliminate American forces to gain more power in the Pacific, but unfortunately for them, that was not the case. On the morning of June 4th, 1942, the United States found themselves under attack by the Japanese at a base located on Midway Island. Japanese aircrafts bombed the area and caused severe damage throughout the naval base in hopes to eliminate U.S. forces in the Battle of the Pacific. In an interview with World War II veteran Bill Norberg, he discusses his service and opinion on the war. Bill fought in the Battle of Midway, and he was aboard the USS Enterprise ship, which suffered a bit of structural damage and included about 80 casualties. He survived the attacks, but unfortunately had to witness the attack on the Yorktown ship, which was devastating to him and other shipmates. The Yorktown ship was one of the few United States forces destroyed in the Battle of Midway. The Hornet was the third major ship involved in the battle that survived only with structural damage. When discussing how the battle started, Bill states, of course, the Japanese attacked initially, but when it came time for the American soldiers to fight back, there was a huge success. Admiral Isaraku Yamamoto was the commander of the Japanese Navy during this time of battle. His plan of attack was to hit first with 4 aircrafts by the names Akagi, Kaga, Hiryu, and Soryu. Then, an invasion of naval ships, including the soldiers aboard. The United States was able to listen in on the Japanese plan to attack the island, which gave them a bit of time to prepare. There were U.S. aircrafts prepared for the attack east of the island, searching for Japanese forces that posed a threat. The U.S. flight fighters raced into battle as they got word of the Japanese presence. Initially, several U.S. fighter planes were shot at and damaged by the Japanese, and it looked good on their end. However, when the Japanese went to refuel and rearm, the United States had sent out more fighter carriers, which destroyed the 4 major aircrafts of Japan: Akagi, Kaga, Hiryu, and Soryu. Hundreds more of Japanese aircrafts were lost during battle, along with hundreds of experienced pilots. During the war, many soldiers would write letters to their loved ones. It was quite difficult to keep them positive due to all the violence and unpredictable situations surrounding them. In a letter to his family, Mark Art writes how close his ship came to sinking after bombs were dropped on them. He talks about it as if it was luck. Thankfully, they had left their docking area when they did. The battle continued on until June 6, 1942, until Admiral Yamamoto ordered his troops to retreat. There were many that were inexperienced in naval bombardments or protocols, as Bill tells viewers, but due to strong leadership and an action plan, the U.S. made it to victory. The Battle of Midway resulted in over 3,000 deaths and hundreds of damaged or destroyed forces among the Japanese. The U.S. had lots of structural damage amongst their forces, but far less were destroyed compared to the Japanese. The naval base at Midway Island, however, did suffer a great deal of structural damage and contributed to the fatalities. The picture being shown is the oil tanks bursting into flames, which caused the damage to worsen. Overall, the U.S. victory changed the course of the Pacific War, and they took control.